Hey, hey, welcome to Live with Lynn. So if you're here, say hi. If you're watching the replay, be sure to type replay so I know you were here. I'm Lynn Huber, and I appreciate you being here today. So we've been talking about about creativity lately, and um, today I thought we would talk about the 5 steps of the creative process. Like I said, we've talked about creativity lately and how it's easier for some of us to think creatively, and it just comes naturally to some people. But all of us have the ability to be more creative. Seriously, I mean, the creative mind can be developed. It's a habit, just like anything else. And like any other habit, the more you practice, the better you'll get at it. The more you do the things regularly that flex your creative muscle, the more you're going to develop that natural ability to be creative. So when you look at different creative pieces of work, you might be amazed at how simple they are, their beauty and their effectiveness. You might wonder how they came up with such a brilliant idea, right? How can you use that creative process in your work, in your life? So here's the thing: creativity is not magic. It's not. It's just a mixture of influence and imitation and your own interpretation. So, like I said earlier, it can be more predominant in some people, but anyone can train themselves to be more creative. It's not just restricted to art or music or inventions either. I mean, in fact, we can be creative in the ways we approach everything we do in our lives, from the way we clean our house to the way we take care of our yards to how we make decisions in our jobs or our business. I mean, so many things create because being creative is just doing something a little bit differently, right? Or doing it your way, right? So it comes down to training yourself in the creative process. So the creative process is different for everyone, but it does have the same basic 5 steps. And each step is going to be different depending on the person and what you're trying to accomplish and what tools you have available to you and lots of other factors. And it could take days or weeks or months to get an outcome because the creative process is not predictable and it's not linear for sure. In fact, you might come up with something awesome right now that you don't need right now. It's amazing how that works, right? Something comes into your mind, you're trying to figure out how to do something, and something comes into your mind, and you're like, wow, that's pretty amazing, but it's not what I'm looking for right now, right? So when that happens, write it down because it's probably something you can use or build from in the future. So let's look at those 5 basic steps in the creative process. So the first one is preparation. So the preparation stage is where you gather as much information as you can, right? You begin immersing yourself in the material. You might be Google searching, you might be reading things, you might be looking, doing all kinds of research, right? And fine tuning what it is you're trying to accomplish, determining what might be possible, and gathering all information from and inspiration even from other sources. But find out what's out there. Just totally immerse yourself in it, and that's where you're hitting the preparation. So let me see. I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. So yeah, so you're preparing. You're looking for. You're gathering information. Hi, Anitra. Good morning. So so for example, if you're a writer, this step is researching facts and reading other works in the same kind of area of what you're writing. Right. If you're an entrepreneur, you're researching what your audience needs and the demand, what it is that they're looking for. How is it that I can help my customers? Whatever it is, right? And or whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, you're looking at, okay, well, how will that benefit the people that I'm trying to benefit, or how will that work for me, right? So the second step is incubation. This one takes a little bit of time. I mean, it can be different. It depends on the situation, obviously, and incubation period can be a lot longer for some things and a lot shorter for other things. But this is where the magic happens. So after you absorb the information from the first step, you start to examine concepts. You look at them in different ways, and you experiment with how they fit together. So this step is when ideas are marinating in your mind. It can be consciously while you're brainstorming or subconsciously. And sometimes you have to step away from the problem and go do something else that energizes and excites you before you come back to it. But it's just, I mean, sometimes this can be happening while you're sleeping. It can be happening while you're doing those things, cleaning your house or whatever it is, just because your mind never stops, right? So then step number 3 is illumination. So this is that aha moment. This is that light bulb moment that, oh, awesome. I just figured out that perfect idea hits you. And it's that breakthrough moment. And often it's unexpected. Many times this can happen when you're doing something completely that has nothing even related to what you're working on. And when that moment hits, though, this is when you want to grab your notebook or your sketchbook and jot it down before it gets lost in your brain, or grab your phone and jot it down in your text, in a text thing in your phone, because this is like, okay, it's been marinating in your brain, and it's all this stuff's been going around, and then all of a sudden, boom, you have an idea. It might not be the end idea, but it's something usually that strikes you as, wow, this could work. This could be really good, right? So then step number 4 is evaluation. So this is the reasoning stage. It's the hard part, because this is where you have to look at all your ideas and narrow them down to the ones that will work and which ones won't, right? For each idea or solution, ask yourself these questions, like, is it worth pursuing? Is it new enough, or has it been many times before, right? Or can I change it enough to make it work right for me, right? Are there changes that I can make just to make it different? What would my colleagues or my superiors or my customers think of the idea, or whoever it is that you're wanting to include in why you're doing this, right? And then number 5 is implementation. So this is the stage where you get to work. This is where the work gets done. It's where the idea is turned into the final product. It's where things like your skill, your knowledge, your experiences, and all that work come together to create that solution. It's the final draft, right? It's the artist's finished piece, and it's your business person's product. So creativity is creative because there's no set way to do it. I mean, obviously, that's what makes it creative, right? It doesn't have a set process that's always going to work if you do it a certain way. But there are those 5 general steps that I gave you that pretty much pertain to everything you create and how that process works. And, I recently developed a daily 8 system for my team and for Avon reps in general. And I just kicked it off last week with a little incentive to go along with it. But as I was thinking about what to talk about today, I can see how I used each of these 5 steps in the process of creating and launching this system. Every one of those steps, when I go back, I see that, well, yeah, that's exactly what happened. And that's exactly what happened. And so those steps, it doesn't matter what you're trying to accomplish, those steps will help you. They'll help you in your work and in your daily life, to help you solve problems or come up with new products or just be more creative in your life. So, hey, now I'd love to hear from you. Do you consider yourself a creative person? How have you seen these 5 steps work in some of the things that you've accomplished? Please get down in the comments and share your thoughts. I would love to hear your stories. Thank you, Anitra, for being live with me today, and anyone else who might be live who just didn't comment. And thank you to anyone who's watching the replay. I appreciate you. So go out there and have an amazing day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.